that kind of job humbled me a lot. I used to get spanners thrown at me and everything because it was just like 0 to 100. The way you have to deal with it, you have to be very strong-willed. I think I was on about 1,000. I came out of the show with like 800k, and then one video can make you famous.
Today we are joined by Luke Mabbott. How are you doing, Luke?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. You?
Absolutely sound, mate. More sound for having you here, mate. Yeah. I know it's absolutely freezing. We've picked a mad location today at Made for the Cage. We're at a local gym in Sunderland. Speaking of that, you've done a bit of fighting, haven't you? Have you done a bit of training yourself?
Yeah. So I was, I've been training for a couple of years now. Like I was supposed to have a fight last year that fell through due to like the promotion company and stuff. And then ever since after that, I just kept it up. So like I actually love it. Like it's more like of a passion now. Like it's I think it's one of them things that you start, you're not too sure on it, and then after you just want to keep doing it.
Yeah, of course.
I pretty much do it. I still do it with my coach now, every now and then, each week, and yeah, I actually love it.
I want to talk about that, but I just want, for people who don't know who you are, I don't want to ask who is Luke. I don't want to be as cheesy as that. But where did your kind of journey begin? Because I know that a lot of people will have recognised your face off Love Island and things like that. What were you all about before TV?
Yeah, so I'll start from like very beginning. So I came out of school, did all right in school, did like C's and stuff, and that didn't help now. Literally.
Got C's and stuff.
I still, and then after it, I applied, I must have applied for like 40-ish jobs. I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time, so I was like unsure kind of what path to go down. I love my music, so I've learnt guitar off YouTube, and I know piano and stuff, so it's kind of like, I didn't know if to go down that route, but then my family was like, there's not much money in it, so it's kind of like, if you don't make it, then there's no point in doing it. And then that kind of got crushed, and then I think I just fell into kind of plumbing and heating. So I was a plumbing and heating engineer for about 6 years or something. Went through my apprenticeship and stuff. But I think it's one of them jobs, whether you love or hate. I grew to love it, and I probably love it more now than I've ever loved it.
Right. Okay.
But when I started, it was the worst thing ever. Like I got like I think.
Was this like apprentice level?
Yeah. So apprentice level, you get treated like absolute, like it's so bad.
It's graft.
Oh, it's graft. Yeah, I used to get spanners thrown at me and everything. So it's kind of like, yeah. So it was one of them things where I had to do the first year for free, and I was on trial, and I just needed an apprenticeship to get some money in. And then after that, I kind of got to a point where I bought my first house. So I bought my first house at 21, and did it all up. And then I think that's where kind of like the bug came from.
Right, okay.
So ever since then, and doing it up and having a place of your own, it's kind of like, it's spurred me on to kind of do that as a passion. Like
reignite.
Yeah, I found a passion that I love.
Yeah.
And it kind of got to the point like what I used to do. So I've always been kind of a guy who loves like business. I've always aspired to be an entrepreneur. And I used to set up businesses when I was plumbing. So what I used to do is set up a clothing company and run that while I was doing plumbing after work. And then I used to work in a nightclub on the night.
Where does that come from? Are you from a family of entrepreneurs, or?
No. My dad, he works on the docks. So he works like with potash, like salts and stuff. My mum, she's kind of done like hairdressing, and then she's a nurse now.
Right.
And I don't know. I always felt a bit different. I always used to start businesses, and I've had plenty that have failed. Like there's so many.
Aren't we all, mate?
But I think it just came, like I just used to see the freedom they used to have, and kind of like it's kind of your business. I don't like the fact of like I'm working my ass off to make someone rich.
Yeah.
And I never really understood that. So it kind of, I think it sparked from there, really.
Do you know when you said there about a lot of businesses have failed that you've did, like what's failure to you? Like how have they failed? They've not made as much money? They've not made any money?
I think the failure for me was they're not making enough money for me to do it full time.
Right,
So
okay.
I was doing it part-time at the time, and I wasn't making enough money to kind of quit my plumbing heating job and do it full-time.
Right, okay.
Because I had a mortgage and everything, so it's kind of I had to be sure,
It was gonna work.
yeah, it was gonna work before I quit. Because if it doesn't, then it's gonna.
So when you're obviously coming out of your apprenticeship, you're on the tools and stuff. You're 21-year-old. You've got your first house. How did you manage to do that? Because that's a pretty much dream scenario. Not saying you haven't worked for that, but did you get help to get your first property? Was it something you'd saved up for? Because 21-year-old getting a mortgage is hard enough.
Yeah. So where I live as well, it's quite cheap. So I think it was like an impulsive kind of move where I was at home. I just wanted freedom. Like not hated my mum and dad. I love them a bit. We're so close, but
Fucking
I
hate
just
me, mum
wanted
and
out. I just
They don't know this, but I fucking hate them.
love them a bit. It's like they've done so much for me, but I feel like I wanted that freedom. I wanted the responsibility to kind of just like move out and kind of see where it'd go. And I had a car at the time which I bought. I think it was like $6,000 or something. So I thought I'd sell that and look for a house. And then my mum and dad helped me to get a deposit and stuff. I think they give me like $1,000 or something. And then I was looking around for ages and ages and ages. And then I saw this one bungalow, and it came up, and then I just went for it really. And
Why bungalow?
I
Just enough for you, or did you have the vision of trying to flip it, or anything like that?
Yeah, so bungalows are absolute gold mines, I think. Like,
Are they really?
yeah. So they don't really build them anymore, and old people always want them. They don't really like stairs,
Fair
so
play.
it was always kind of in the back of your mind that like someone's gonna snap this up, whether like when I do it up and stuff. So it was kind of, it's like a proper lad pad. It's basically like grey, black and white, no pitched on the wall.
Okay, man. Proper minimal.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, and then I just like it was just kind of freedom, like I could do what I wanted and kind of stuff like that.
So how old are you now, Luke?
27.
27 now. So you're 21-year-old. You've got your first property. You've experienced a lot of failure within business and things like that. You haven't got your kind of you're not into property as much as what you are now,
Yeah.
which I do want to talk about. Love Island, that came about. Did that have much impact on your career to where you are now? And how did Love Island come about?
Yeah, so it came about, I saw it on a Facebook ad, and it was like, Love Islanders need Teessiders or something.
Oh, fucking hell. Fucking hell.
So I was like, and at the time I was in a job for about 6 years, and I was sick of it, and I wanted kind of a like out kind of thing. And I was
You thought
like,
Love Island is the way?
Well, yeah, I was like, well, I could try anything. I would try anything to kind of get out of it. So I applied for it, and then I got a message back, and they were like, oh, can you come to an interview in Newcastle? Went to the interview in Newcastle, and then went to Amsterdam, and I didn't really think of it. I was like, oh, nothing's going to come of this. Like, it's not impossible. And then they were like, oh, do you want to come back for the interview like in London? And then I was like, oh, right, okay, we'll do it. And then it's not really my thing, really, to be fair.
What, Love Island or London?
No, just like talking in front of people, and like I was quite shy and stuff like that. So it was kind of one of the things where I was like, do I do it, or do I just like run with it and try and get on and see what happens? And then obviously like Love Island came about, and then coming like you're in there and it's kind of weird. Like you don't really know what's going on. You don't know what time it is.
Can I just jump in there? When you went to London and you knew you're probably advancing through the selection process, if you like, did you start thinking, shit, I'm actually probably going to get on here? Like,
Yeah.
did you start thinking, I might fuck this off? Or were you thinking, I've got to just do it now, I'm here?
I just got to do it. I just got to like, I was so nervous, like to the point where back then as well, I couldn't really talk to people. Like, I don't know, my communication skills weren't there. Like, I didn't have an experience with it. I wasn't really on Instagram. So it was kind of new waters for me, and I didn't know how to deal with it.
Fucking hell.
And then you literally, it's like this. So you're here, and then there's like 4 people. It's like you're in like a Britain's Got Talent audition or something. And then
Was this before you get in?
Yeah.
for
So like the
process,
London audition with the producers. And it's really intimidating, to be fair. It's quite intimidating even if you haven't experienced it. And then I was at the gym, and then I got a call, and they were like, oh, we want you to go on Love Island. I was like, holy shit, like, this is crazy. But like they always say, they're like, you're never on Love Island until you step in the villa.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you can
yeah.
go there and then they can fly you back straight away.
Mhm.
Like, so it's not certain. And then yeah, it was like after that it was just kind of you're in there and it's kind of you don't really know what's going out in the outside world. So I was in there for like a month and a half.
And what do you do every day? Because obviously people who watch Love Island only see a snippet, don't they? Like, and I know obviously the cameras will show what they want to show and all that type of stuff. I'm assuming people know that anyway. But what do you actually do on a daily basis? Like, do you have a phone? Can you check the time? Like, how restricted is it?
So you don't know what time it is at all. Even on the oven, you can't tell what time it is.
Hell, mate.
So you could be filming till like 6 o'clock in the morning, and you wouldn't, and you could see that we used to see the sun come up, and we're like, Jesus, this is late.
That's mad, man.
And then you do have a phone, but it doesn't have a time on, so you can just take photos on it. But you literally just sunbathe, talk, argue, and just have a good time.
Was there any part of your journey in Love Island that you wanted to leave?
Yeah, it did get to that point. I feel like it was probably after Casa Amor. There's only like so many times you can get pied on a show.
Wait, did you keep getting pied? Like, was it the crack?
Not pied. It was just like you weren't feeling each other. It was just kind of like if I go now, then I'll be happy. Like,
because do you when you watch the show? Because I've seen the one that's on right now, mate.
Yeah.
Especially the last few days, knowing that you were coming on. Is it legit? Like, do people really find love in there, or do you think? I mean, I get it is a game, isn't it? But do you think it is a case of, because it's not it's not a real scenario, is it? Like, if you're living with someone for a month and a half, do you think you can fall in love in that time? Do you think this is going to be completely different on the outside? Is that going through your mind?
Yeah. I feel like it is a show that you go on, and obviously, basically, Love Island, the matchmakers. So you give them what your type is and stuff like that, and then they try and bring girls in to match you up with them. So I do feel like that these good intentions, like you go in for love. For me anyway, I'm like a relationship type of guy. I hate being single. It's just a headache, and I just don't need it. So
What's a headache about it?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just like when you're playing about when you're single, it's just like.
Fucking hell, man. How long were you single for then?
I was
Before that point, had you been in relationships?
Yes, I was in a relationship for like 4 years, and then I was single for like a year within like the Love Island kind of thing, and then came out and then got with Lucy and stuff.
Right, okay.
But I do feel like Love Island, you do find love, like, but also like people do go on to kind of better their career.
And do you stay in touch with people who you on the show with?
The only people I stay in touch with is Biggs and Ched the odd occasion.
Right, okay. Is there any other reason why, or is it just one of those things where you kind of go your own way again?
Again, like I feel like people go their own way. People have their own paths. So you come out and like I came out with like Luke T, and he's kind of gone down a path and stuff, and I've gone down my path, and it's just kind of like we live quite far away, so it's kind of like it's hard to see each other and stuff.
See, because for me, you go on to Love Island, a lot of people will say you're gonna get hundreds of thousands of followers, whatever it is, or millions, or whatever it may be. Business-wise, wouldn't you all just connect? Like, say there's 5 lads and you've got 10 million followers between you. Wouldn't it be clever to start a brand with other people who can amass that kind of following? I know it doesn't always convert to sales, but wouldn't that be a good idea? Because a lot of times that you hear there, like, you look at people who've been on a real, whether it's Big Brother, whatever it is, and it's like, now they don't speak to anyone who they're on the show with. But for me, if you join forces, you could do a lot better, because a lot of people it's the same demographic.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be good, but I just feel like, again, it's everyone's in competition with everyone. A new Love Island comes on, you get pushed to the back, and then the new ones come on. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It'd be good. Imagine getting 10 people and making a brand. That's crazy.
That's what I mean. Because I used to think this when I was at uni, right? I'd looked around, and a lot of people in uni were like, I want to start this. And I'm like, why don't we all do it? Not we didn't do it, but the majority of people don't come out of uni and go on to doing things. So it's like, wouldn't it be better? You're all smart guys. Some people are introvert, extrovert, whatever it is. Some people just sit in the bedroom and make movies all day. Some people go out on the field and location and create actual, things, film festivals, etc. Wouldn't it be smarter to put that together? Like,
oh, definitely. I think, again, it comes down to who you trust. Like, I personally wouldn't do it because I don't trust enough people.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I only have businesses with my family and like some close friends. So it's kind of like, I think being a business partner and kind of is different than being friends.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you both have to put the same amount of effort in. If one's not putting effort in, it's going to affect your friendship. And I think it's one of the things like I personally don't trust anyone. So it's kind of like
Did that trust come? Did it come from anywhere in particular? Or have you just always been that type where you'd rather just trust your family and?
Yeah, I've always been a family guy. So like me and my family, we've always stuck together. We're probably the closest family I've ever seen, and me and my brother, there's 5 years between us, but we're literally like best mates. We have businesses together, we have shared bank accounts together. It's just
That's
exactly
amazing,
the same. So it's always kind of been like that. And then my dad always used to say when I was younger as well, trust no one. I actually just got it tattooed on my knees recently.
Really?
Yeah. So it's kind of been a family thing, really, and it takes a lot to gain my trust, kind of thing.
And is that applied in relationships as well? With
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
feel like you have to gain each other's trust, and it's like mine and Lucy. Like I trust her 100%, and we're both in the same field, and again, it's just
With that being said, so you've kind of grew up with this, your dad said you don't trust anyone, and I understand that. I
Yeah.
do, especially when you're in business as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot more trust needs to be brought into it because there's a lot more to lose, effectively. But when you went on Love Island, did that just magnify the whole scenario for you? Because then,
Yeah.
fucking hell, like, how did that make you feel?
Yeah, I think coming out, and I feel like everyone's out to get you. If you step 1 foot out of line, your career's gone. It's as simple as that. It's like if you step out of line in any way, you get. It's not career gone, but it's affected.
Yeah, of course.
When
When you say step out of line, do you mean literally like doing something wrong in public or whatever it is?
Yeah, there's different types in there. So it's like if you say something wrong, if you do something wrong. I mean, it's again like I've came to learn. Because it's obviously a new career for me. I didn't really know how to deal with it. Like coming out, I didn't have a clue. I was just a plumber who went on a show, so it was kind of very weird for me. Over the years, I've came to I have my wits about me. I haven't been drunk in about 2.5 years or something. Don't really go out much. On nights out. I feel like that's just my choice. I just don't want to get caught out, basically.
So when did you leave the show?
So I left the show probably about 3 years ago now.
So do you think it still has that attachment to you, that the fact that you're on TV? Do you still get spotted? Do you still think if you did something daft, you'd make headlines and stuff? Or do you think that's kind of... Because I don't know, because a lot of people say there's a shelf life with the reality TV stars, and a lot of people quickly go into a certain niche, whether it's fitness or whatever it is, I think it's to try and lose that attachment, which I'd understand. Do you think it still follows you now?
Yeah. I feel like with it's something to do with mine and Lucy's relationship as well. So
fair enough.
We're both kind of in a relationship. She was on the show before. I was on the winter one. So it's kind of like people love us as a couple. So I feel like it does follow us a bit more. But yeah, again, if you say if you get videoed and someone sends it to the Sun, they're gonna post about it. It's just kind of I think they're just like any gossip, really.
Yeah, of course. So going on to the show, and this is really the last I want to mention on Love Island, to be honest, mate, because I think I think there's a lot more to Luke than Love Island.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to delve into. Can you remember, social media wise, can you remember what you were on before and after the show?
So I was on, before the show, I think I was on about 1,000.
Really?
And then I came out of the show with I think I came out with 800k, and then what normally happens, so you come out with say 800k or something, and then it just pumps after that as soon as you get out and kind of interact with your followers and stuff like that, and it kind of, I think it went to 1.2 or something, which is it's crazy.
How did you deal with that? Was it because for people who don't know, I mean, I know quite a few people who did things like that. But for people who don't know and who will listen to it from the horse's mouth, how does it feel? Is it one of those things where your phone's just blown up non-stop, or is it a case where you have to have a different phone? Because surely if you're getting 1 million followers, mate, within the space of a few weeks, there's opportunities, there's bullshitters, there's scammers, there's going to be trolls, there's going to be all that type of stuff. How do you deal with that? Like,
I don't know, honestly. I think coming out, like, my phone was literally going crazy. And I was just like, this is very weird. Didn't really know how to deal with it back then.
Did you like it?
I don't know. Like, again, I feel like I've always had the mindset of kind of Luke before. So I've never changed since not getting the followers to getting the followers.
Yeah, of course.
It's just like, I'm exactly the same person. It's just the way you have to deal with it. You have to be very strong-willed. You have to not look at. I feel like not look at comments and stuff like that. I mean, it's good interacting with people who follow you. I personally just try and like have time away.
Yeah.
Not be on it as much and just kind of post stuff and then leave it.
It's mad, with you, because like, not that there's a stereotype. Well, there probably is, I think. But with you, it sounds mad this, but you don't seem like the type of guy who'd go on Love Island or a show. Like you're very like, it's hard to explain what I mean. You're definitely confident as fuck, but you're quite like humble. Like you're not like one of those guys who were like, yes, I went on the show, we did this, we did that. It was a business plan. Like I think probably somewhere in the back of your mind, from what I can pick up, and I'd like you to answer really, like I feel like it was probably a business move from you. Like it's a clever move. Like don't trust anyone. I want to start a business. I've had a load of failed businesses. I can probably leverage a bit of a following here. I'll just keep my nose clean and just be a good lad. And I think, and obviously you've actually found love with someone who wasn't even on your show.
Yeah.
Which is mad. And I think that's why I get that impression. Do you think I'm right, or?
Yeah, 100%. I would have never gone on the show. Like, I think where why I'm so like kind of chilled and why I'm probably a bit more confident now is kind of like, I think plumbing and heating is a very hard job, and it kind of humbles you a lot. So I've been kind of like where I've had no money and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, I feel like that kind of job humbled me a lot. Like I look back now, even when I still do bathrooms now, so I still fit bathrooms.
Do you get recognised in the properties?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes.
That's fucking mad. That. Is that not awkward as fuck?
I do like, so like with our properties, I do the bathrooms and stuff. I don't like, sometimes like I work closely like with the joiner, and like I do jobs for him, he did jobs for me. So like I was working around his house and stuff. It's
funny as well, just thinking. I bet some people are absolutely crumbling. You know what I mean? Like, not even imagine.
But yeah, I feel like it came from that. Like, and then, do you know what? I feel like I don't really recognize the person before. Like I'm still the same person, but confident wise, Love Island brought a totally different side out to me, which I've never thought I'd ever see. Yeah. I couldn't talk to you like this. I couldn't.
Do you know what's crazy, mate? Right. So I used to, what I do for a business now, the content PT, I basically travel up and down the country and I create content for people like yourself. It could be a fashion brand, fitness, predominantly fitness, a PT, and I'm like, whoever it is. And that takes quite a lot of like, yourself, mate, when you're on a shoot, it's quite intimate. If you're working with someone like me, it's a bit like, can we do this? Can we do that? So, and because I'm kind of a one-man band, I've kind of built up a network by purely being confident. I think I've probably bluffed me confidence, if I'm totally honest with myself now. When I looked at it, I think, I'll probably bullshit my way through it. Yeah. But I've kind of put the blag on that I'm probably more confident than what I am. But before all that, I was a shy young'un when I was growing up. But I worked in sales, mate, and I worked in car phone warehouse, mate, and I used to flog phones. But I remember my first sales pitches to when I left the business, and I did well out of that company. And that I would 100% kind of credit my confidence now to working in sales.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what that did for you? like especially with the plumbing and stuff. Like
Definitely.
if you're in people's houses, like it could be the Luke, do you want a cup of tea? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The usual stuff. Then you have a bit crack on and stuff. And do you think that's kind of got you to where you are in terms of your confidence?
Yeah. Do you know what? Like looking back now, I'd 100% go into sales. Just because it gives you so much confidence, it gets you used to talking to people, communicating, eye contact, everything. I couldn't do that before. Like I couldn't, was not like that.
Yeah.
And being on the show, because it was just like 0 to 100 very quick, and it kind of like, even like the little things, like I ain't the strongest reader in the world. Like for instance, like I used to read texts on Love Island, and like sometimes you have to reread them, and I'd be like, oh. So I must have read about 10 texts out, and I said to him, I said, do not send me a text again, because I ain't reading it out. I was like, but like I read books now, and like kind of working on it. It's just kind of like, it's been one of them things that's like, that is, I think it was my confidence that was knocking me.
Yeah.
And that's why, probably since school, like reading out in school, I wasn't the strongest.
How does it work, right, with the confidence thing? You're a good-looking bloke. When you're good-looking, you 100% are going to get more female attention. If you're not confident, it's almost the worst thing in the world to be good-looking, isn't it? I'm assuming, like, if, you look like you, you're going to get a load of... I'm talking beforehand, when you weren't as confident and stuff. Was that hard? Were you ever, like, you didn't want... Or were you happy to still get that female attention?
Yeah, I mean, I never used to go out and just look for it. Me and like my close friends that I'm friends with for years, like since just after school, we're the type of friends who just go out and it's a good laugh between us. We're not going out and pulling as many birds as you can and taking them home. It was kind of like, we go out, we get absolutely like drunk, and it's kind of like we'd have a good time between us. So I think when I was kind of back then, I was just kind of like not really looking for it, and kind of, I don't know, it's kind of, yeah, like I feel like it's just come from time, really.
So business now, obviously you've done what you've done. It's amazing. You've been on the tools. You've bought property. So now you flip property as well.
Yeah, so what we do, so it's probably elevated in the last 3 years. So we buy properties and then rent them out, and then remortgage, and then.
And when you say we, is there a few years in the business, or is it just
so
you?
It's just me and my brother.
You and your brother.
Me and my brother. Brotherhood Properties. We've been, I think, established like 3 years. We bought houses before, like I think just before Love Island. We bought next door at my mum and dad's.
Right.
And I remember trying to scrape the money together. I was like, because I need to get it before like kind of go on, and it was like a good opportunity. So you try and find anything to kind of make it work.
Yeah.
And then coming out and like kind of like deals and kind of everything promised in the world, and then obviously COVID hit, and it was kind of like it gave me a lot more capital to kind of elevate the business. So we have like a really good portfolio now that we rent out, and yeah, we're keeping going now.
So I know it. I mean, I've got a few friends who are in property, and I know how hard they work. Can you remember, like, or can you give me an example personally, like, of how hard sometimes or how deep you've got to dig, like, to do this property game? Because I think a lot of people would look and think it's a piece of piss. You buy a property below market value, flip it, do it with it or whatever, flip it, make a few grand, just on and on and on. But how hard is it? Are you actually in there yourself, stripping things, ripping up carpets, knocking down walls?
So I think we probably make it harder for ourselves, because we literally buy the property. I'm a plumber, my brother's a sparky, my mum and dad get involved as well. So we literally go in, do it all ourselves. So it's long nights. Like I'll literally be working, doing like influencing and stuff like that, and the stuff I need to do, and then I'll be going, ripping a bathroom out and fitting a bathroom and doing first fixing and stuff like that.
You know what's mad, Luke? What made you go? I know, well, I kind of know why you've gone into property, but was it not easier to just launch a clothing line or get 1 million followers and just launch a PT course or do something like that?
Yeah, I think
Has the temptation been there for that?
Do you know what? I think any business is hard. I feel like it depends how much effort you put in.
Yeah.
If you're willing to sacrifice a lot to have a successful business, then you deserve success. But I feel like, I don't know. Again, it's down to the plumbing side. Like, I enjoy it now. Like, I never used to, but now I'm doing it for myself and I'm earning my own money doing it. I enjoy it and I have a passion for it. So, I mean, I could set up a clothing brand and all this stuff, but I got too much stuff going on.
Do you think your following on social media helps you in property?
Nah, like, it doesn't really help that much. I mean,
do you get any little perks and stuff when you go into suppliers or something and they recognise you? None of that.
No,
it's not like that at all.
No, I wouldn't want to. Like, I have a very good relationship with all, like, Plum Centre and MKM and kind of Screwfix and stuff. I know all the lads from plumbing, so like we can have banter behind the bar and behind the bar.
Behind the bar, right?
Well, behind the bar, just having a coffee. But yeah, we have banter in there, and like I have good contacts where I can get kind of like cheap stuff. And I think it's just I've got the contacts for there, so it's made it a lot easier.
Right, I'm with you.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really give us like a lot of perks at all.
Do you get any perks from social media outside of the property world?
Yeah, obviously, like it brings a lot of opportunity.
Still.
Yeah. Honestly, like probably the first year was a very hard year because when I came out, the week after I came out, we got locked down, so I literally went back in. So
keep saying came out. I feel like you've been to prison. Well, the week after I come out, it was hard as fuck. I couldn't get a job on out. Fucking solid. So what we said?
So as soon as I came out of Love Island, it was literally a couple of weeks. I was doing PAs and stuff, and then COVID hit, and that's when we kind of got locked down.
Yeah.
So I went to go and live at my brother's house, and it was kind of opportunities were falling. Like people weren't spending money on brands, people weren't promoting, so I was kind of like, there's no money coming in really. And then after that, the second year was amazing, and then it just keeps getting better and better each year. I feel like.
How do you? Because I've seen your Instagram page, and you model. Would you class yourself as a model as well? No. Really. I
mean, I do model like a lot, like with clothing brands and stuff like that. But I don't know.
It's mad, because the amount. So how weird is that, right? So the amount of people I've spoke to who model. Right?
I'm a plumber.
You're a fucking model. Like, what's the crack with that? It's like, well, 95% of my income's modeling, but I'm not a model. You know what I mean? It's like, is there a stigma attached to modeling? Do you think there's a reason why people kind of dance around that term?
I don't know. I just personally, I never really like calling myself a model. Really, I do model for like clothing brands. Like I've been with Boohoo for like 3 years, and Goose and Gander. We've got a shoot coming up with them. I don't know. I enjoy it. It's not like a.
So on your Instagram though, Luke, right? So you look confident as fuck. Like you do. I'm talking stills. I haven't watched a lot of your stories recently and stuff like that. But on your stills and stuff, when you're doing your pose and all this stuff.
Like,
yeah.
This is
like, that one. What was it? All that type of stuff. Like, well, I look like a pleb doing that. Because for me personally. Fucking hell, I couldn't. I don't think I could do it. Like, I just feel like I would love to. Yeah, cool as fuck. Fucking getting all these sponsors and stuff like that. But like I got a sponsorship with Muscle Food.
Oh yeah.
A few months back, mate, and even like doing a review of their. I was like, fuck this shit. I was like, I didn't want anyone professional in.
Yeah.
I got our last. I was like, Abby, can you just film us just doing this? It was awkward as fuck, mate. But they loved it and it was fine.
Yeah.
And I kind of think if that happened again with another brand or something, I think I'd be probably more open because of that. And it's probably not as deep as what I thought. Yeah. Do you just feel like it's money? It is what it is. I'll just model. Or do you still feel a bit like self-conscious, or are you not like that?
I think I started modeling kind of. I started with an agency when I was plumbing, so I was actually with an agency and it went poorly. Like I was with them for a month. That's where I met Leon. So me and Leon did a futsal shoot together, and we met. Well, I knew him before then and stuff, but I've always kind of like dipped my toe in kind of thing. So when I used to have the clothing brand, one of my mates used to have a clothing brand as well, so I used to model for him.
Right. Okay.
And it was kind of like progression, just getting used to it. And then it's just more of like a laugh now, just do you know what? The most natural ones do the best. Like
Yeah, of course.
when you're just having a laugh, it's not too serious, you're not taking it too serious.
And what is doing the best? Is that reach on social? Is that
Yeah, just like you're laughing. I feel like personally for my page, like you laughing, not with me being serious, like even like real stuff. Like I put a lot of DIY stuff up now.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
So I want to really head down that route. And it's just like I prefer to be like that kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like the most natural you can be, and most like people can relate to it instead of just being super serious. I mean, it depends what brand. You have to kind of mold yourself to the brand, really.
Yeah, of course.
So if there's like a really high fashion brand, you need to take different.
Is the type of brands and stuff that you I mean, without mentioning brands, is there any type of people you try and avoid? Is there certain clothing things you wouldn't do? Is there certain brands that you wouldn't represent? You wouldn't, because I'm assuming with a large following on social, you're gonna get, well, you said yourself, you get opportunities, but I'm sure you'll get things where you're like, nah, the money's great, but it wouldn't really align with me.
Yeah.
Have you got any examples of that, or does that happen a lot? Or do you find that the brands that approach you are the ones who normally would know what you're about?
Yeah, so I have like a handful of brands that I work with. I think recently I'm gonna kind of switch it up slightly. I feel like I've been doing it for quite a long time, so I'm kind of switch up, not my style as much, but like the way I kind of work with brands and stuff like that. I don't know, like there hasn't been a situation where I'm like, I'm not too sure if to work with them or not, because all the brands that kind of come to us are actually like established brands, and they're really good.
Yeah.
If I like the style, if I like the clothing, then I'll work with you.
So do you think, do the brands approach you and your lass, or is it normally just you?
So both. So
because you're a power couple really now, like you both got a following, you're both smashing it, like it looks mint, everything you're doing. So I'm assuming, like, if I was a brand and I was like, who am I gonna, a couple, like I'd go, it's double the reach effectively, isn't it?
So we have a lot of shoots together. Like we've got, we're going to snow bombing in a couple of weeks. Next month, we're doing a shoot over there because I snowboard and she skis. And then a couple of months after that, we got a shoot together. So it is a lot together. Like people do like us together. Plus, like when we're together, we bounce off each other. So like, say if I like don't have a good pose or something, I should like change it up, and so it's kind of like you're correcting each other.
Yeah,
kind
of course.
Thing.
I know you were saying about your brother being your like best mate and that. Do you still stay in touch with your friends before all the madness and all that type of stuff, like your original friends?
I literally have a handful of friends. How long have I been friends with them? I'd say probably just after school. So one guy I met, Dempo, he was on my plumbing course.
Right.
So he's a plumber as well. And then just after, from meeting him, I met like his groups of mates, and so there's literally like a handful of us.
Has anyone changed around you?
No.
Do you think? Has it not been that way?
No.
So do you not think there's any bad side to kind of where you've went?
So I can't really, I don't know if I choose to or not, but like I don't really go out as much. So like when they go out, like I'll go out with them, but I probably won't drink or won't get as drunk as I would normally.
Is that because you probably got
I just have
something
to
else
have
to
my,
lose as well?
Yeah, I just have my wits about me now, and like, and I just think it's kind of one of the things I just don't really need to be in the paper the next morning, because like Luke drunk on the side of the road or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. Like,
but I feel like some people do change towards you. Like someone really, really close to me, has like I don't talk to anymore, because she is like literally, she was like, oh, you're rich, what you, like, and all this stuff, and I was like, it's not the case at all.
do you think you've made it?
No, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. Like
but you're still so far where you've came. From
yeah,
where you've came.
100%. Like I I appreciate like the position I'm in, because without Love Island, I don't think I would be in it. I'd be very close, because I've always kind of been driven to kind of get where I want. Like my main goal, I haven't achieved yet, which is to retire. I want to retire my mum and dad, so and my brother. So I literally, that's kind of, as soon as I do that, then I'm happy.
I would disagree. I think you would be doing well without Love Island.
Yeah,
Because I think 21-year-old with a property is a fucking awesome place to start, and Love Island didn't give you that.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think you're probably not crediting yourself enough there, mate. If I'm honest with you, because I think that Love Island probably boosted your socials a bit, which has led them opportunities. But if you're not taking them opportunities, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I think it would have been a lot slower. So I feel like Love Island just elevated it.
Yeah.
Elevated it a lot. Where before it probably would have been slow pace. But I do feel like I'd have either set a business up or done something to kind of quit plumbing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you have any tips for people who are not looking to get on TV, but looking to grow a following? And do you think it's needed in this day and age?
Social media is very important. Like, it is very important. Like, it's all over. It's one of them things that can make or break. It's like TikTok, for instance. One video can make you famous. Like,
Yeah,
and it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with business, I feel like, social media is very important. You can't really promote it without it. I mean, you can, but I just feel like there's so many people on social media. Everyone has a phone. And it's kind of one of them things that you kind of need to keep up with the times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I don't think being on your phone is not the most healthiest thing in the world. But when you've got a business, I feel like it is quite important, yeah.
I'm trying to, my all of my business comes from social. Everything I do, because with us being in the content creation space, I really struggle to not be on my phone. I mean, my mindset anyway, I don't switch off, mate. I'm bad with it, like I really am. But I am actively trying, like even now, like I know it's probably not a lot, but at 8 o'clock my phone's off. I know you're thinking, hey, it'll probably go to bed at 10, but still that's a big reduction, because normally, mate, it doesn't leave me hand. It's very hard to not answer an email. I've got to shoot for the next day in London or what, and if someone rings me at 8 o'clock tonight, it's very hard to not return, because it's business.
Yeah.
And when you're chasing and you're trying to build something, it's very hard. Like, only now have I got a position where I can do a Floyd Mayweather fight or do a high profile or a big athlete or whatever, and it's brilliant. But I never forget that there's local lads in gyms who pay me bills. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's very hard to switch off when I get a nudge off our lass saying, "Oh wait, come off your phone, man, tonight." And it is tough. Do you find that happens with you?
That's pretty much exactly the same situation as me. So I try and balance it a lot now. I used to be quite bad. I used to be on my phone reading comments all the time. Now I know a lot, like pretty much it's my business. Like, if I'm not on my phone, I'm not making money.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's one of the things where I have to kind of like have a lot of balance with, so say like, for instance, if I see Lucy, like business is kind of switched off. I'm kind of enjoying life a bit more.
Do you see each other often?
Yeah. So we see each other quite a lot. We sometimes like have a couple of weeks apart, like, but within that couple of weeks, it'll just be all business, day, night, everything, like, for God knows what time, editing. And then as soon as me and her are together, she's like, right, we need to kind of relax.
Do you have a schedule for social media? Because again, like, I know the reason why the content PT business does what it does is because I make it easy for people like yourself to have content. So I provide people with a bank of content every month, effectively. So they say, right, I've got content for the month. I can schedule that and do that and post that then. And there's always something of value to post. Do you think you need a content strategy in business? Or do you think you can just post willy-nilly and you get the same results? Or do you think it's important to have some kind of structure?
Yeah, I think it is important to have structure. I feel like structure is very good, but I don't have a structure as much. Like, if I have, I should maybe, to be fair. But I just kind of just posting as and when I kind of had the content and stuff like that. But I feel like it is good to have a structure. But then again, when you're trying to do something and you're out of that structure, is it stressful? It's kind of like all these things come after it. So it's kind of like, it's a bit of 6 and 2 3s. It's kind of like, I personally just don't have it, just because when not on social media, I'm not like stressing about posting and I should be doing this and stuff.
So I know towards the start of this podcast, mate, you said that you'd failed in multiple businesses and stuff. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who watch or listen to this who are looking to build a business, because everyone wants to be an entrepreneur now. Let's face it, I think it has become a cool thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cool. I think if I had to go back, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love what I do, but part of us always thinks, I wish I could just stick to a 9 to 5 and be happy with that, because I don't switch off. For people who, we want to get it right first time to help people, mate, and I think there's a lot of people who are going to fail, and I think sometimes failure is good, definitely, but if someone's working a job and they really want to start this dream business, or they want to start this thing, what can you say to them people?
I'd just say, I think you've got to really think outside of the box now. When I was doing it, I think probably like 90% of why a couple of my businesses failed was I was doing what others were doing. So I was doing clothing and stuff, and it was very saturated at the time. So it wasn't a unique business. I mean, just kind of think outside the box. I think get on TikTok, because I do feel like that's where all social media is going right now.
100%.
I think Instagram's good. TikTok is just like another level. I just feel like that can elevate a business, that can make a business. And just like think outside the box. Like, I feel like you've got to kind of tap into something that no one's doing. I know it's hard because there's a lot's being invented and stuff like that, but they probably were saying that like 10 years ago as well. And new stuff comes out all the time.
All the time, innit?
So it's one of them things kind of where just stick at it, keep posting, and just keep grinding. Like, if you stop, it's not going to help your growth.
I think that's the only way you feel if you stop. I think, truthfully, if you do stop, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
With you, Luke, you're very creative. You can tell by the way you dress, the way you look, the way you present yourself. Obviously, piano, guitar. You're on the tools. You've done modeling. Like, you literally are you represent creativity, really. Do you think you need to be creative to do well?
I feel like you do need a creative side to you. Like, I think that's when you can think outside the box, when you are creative. So I feel like you do need it. It's kind of not like a necessity. You don't need to be creative or you're going to fail. You just need good ideas, a different approach. But I think creative is a big part of it.
And do you think you need a good support network around you? Or do you think you can do it on your own?
I think either. I mean, you can do it on your own. I think that's possible. Like, a lot of people do a lot of businesses on their own these days, but I feel like if you've got someone to kind of bounce off, give ideas to, like you're to and fro with ideas, I think that's when you can create something really, really good and get someone else's opinion on it.
Yeah, I love that. Like, it's I think it is important to have someone to bounce off. Even when I'm down here with video guy Kurt, there'll be things we say off camera just before the guest will come down.
Yeah,
and we'll be like, actually, why don't we spin this on it? Why don't we ask them this? Because that's an angle. Like, and I try and this is why I was conscious, although I feel like we've probably talked about Love Island quite a bit, I was conscious of, I don't want to be another guy who questions you about Love Island, because I do think it's important that people understand that there's more to you than a show.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do get, because it pisses me off, because I see it, the amount of people who I've met, whether it's an Olympian boxer, whether it's someone like yourself, no matter who it is, a joiner, whatever it is, like, it's more than what they do that defines them. One of my good pals, a very successful businessman in the area, he said to me, so with the content PT business, he said, he pulled us aside, mate, and he said, Ads, he went, I think there's more to you than a videographer. And I never thought that ever. Like, I know that sounds mad because it's quite narrow-minded to think I'm just a videographer, but I was like, this is how I make my money. This is what I do. This is me. It becomes my identity. But when he said that, I was like, actually, do you know what? The reason that I do all right in business is because of probably me, not the skill. Like, don't get me wrong, I can create a video. Yeah. But I think a lot of people can.
Yeah. You're behind the camera, though, aren't you? You're creating it.
But I still think, I just think there's a lot of people who who can create good video.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think if you understand that you know, not better than what you are, but there's more to you than that one thing.
Yeah.
I think that'll actually give you the confidence to go further. And you're testament to that, because you haven't, yeah, don't get me wrong, you've been on a show which has helped your social, but your social's not helping you hang a radiator.
No.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah, yeah.
that's the reality behind it. And a lot of people don't see that at all. They think, oh, I need wonder he's got property because he's been on Love Island.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you get that? I bet you get that.
Yeah, I get like, oh, you got money, you got stuff like this and all this stuff, but like the thing is that like I invest probably pretty much every single penny of my money.
I know you do. You got the bus down here.
I know, yeah.
But
It looks like a bus. Still got a van.
man's got a Hummer. No, no, but that's fucking sound, mate. Where do you see your future, mate? Do you want kids and stuff?
See, me and Liz talk about this, and we've got a dog. So we rescued a dog from Romania. We got her when she was like 6 months, and she's enough. I feel like.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we're not at the stage where we want kids yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm 27. I'm creeping up. So, I mean, if we were to have a kid, I wouldn't. It wouldn't faze me. My nephew, he's an amazing kid, and like his life kind of changed when he had the kid. Like he didn't really travel anymore and stuff like that. So it's kind of me and Luce want to go traveling a lot more. We want to see the world. We want to kind of do stuff before we kind of fully settle down, and like have an amazing house together and stuff like that. I feel like I need the fundamentals there, and be prepared, kind of thing.
Do you know what? I'll give you some advice, Luke. Right. So, me and our lass, we've been together for about 7 years ish, and we've did a bit of traveling and that type of stuff, and we've got a property and all the rest of it, and we've got a little one now, and just mint, mate.
Yeah.
Honestly, it really is. I can't explain to anyone if they haven't had a kid. Like,
Yeah.
it's a mad feeling. But I don't, because a lot of people will say, I just want to travel first and then have the kid. I don't think that'll ever leave you.
Yeah.
Genuinely, because me and Abby want to travel more than we ever did now, and we will do it as well. And I think a lot of people will think, I just want to do this first, and I think that's the same in business, because a lot of people I'll speak to, their mindset at the start is very much, I just want to make this figure, but the goalpost always changes.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like
you make that figure and then you want to double it.
I'm not trying to be the granddad here, but like I'm just saying, if you want kids, don't be like, I'll do it in 5 years' time, because you just never know what's going to happen.
I think when it happens, it's just going to happen, I feel like. And I totally agree with you. Like, whenever you hit a goal, you want more. And it's kind of always going to be like that. You're never happy with what you've got. So I don't know. I'd love a little one. Like, I think it'd be good, but I feel like I'd be waking up every morning with it while Lucy's snoring head on.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Don't
I'm like full-time dog dad. So like, I feel like, yeah, I'd be doing all the work.
You've been that, yeah. So business-wise, what's the future for you, mate? Are you looking to grow your portfolio? Are you looking to take on staff, or do you want to just keep it you and your brother and do the flips and stuff?
So yeah, I feel like I don't know. We just keep growing each year. So each year we try and get another like couple of properties and keep going like that. And then I feel like we might dip into a bit of like commercial now. So we've kind of got a nice portfolio of like houses that we rent out, and then I think now we kind of want to venture into something else, like whether it's commercial or maybe setting up like a little business or something. So I don't know. Like, I feel like we're heading in the right direction.
Definitely.
But again, I'm not too sure what could happen in the future, so I just take every day, really.
Do you want to do anything outside of the property realm? Can you see yourself doing some kind of brand, or? Because it seems mad, like it blows me mind to not do a brand for someone who's creative as you. Not saying that you're not in the way you're kind of exploring that creativity at the moment, but it just seems mad.
Yeah, I think property does take a lot of my time. Like, it is time consuming, especially because we do all the work ourselves. With a brand, I've been there and I know how much it takes to kind of make it kind of good and how much time it takes.
Mhm.
And I feel like if I took on a brand at the minute, I feel like it'd just stress me out. I'd feel like I wouldn't
Yeah.
have any time for myself, wouldn't have any time for Lucy, and it's kind
Properties would take a hit as well.
of yeah, and like I feel like the problem with me is I have so many ideas. I try and put my fingers in so many pies because I want multiple incomes. So I feel like it's so hard because if I started something new, something else would take a hit. So if I put all my energy into properties,
Yeah.
I feel like, and I want to make that the biggest I can. But if I start a brand, then my energy is going elsewhere.
Yeah, it's understandable. For anyone listening or watching, mate, who want to get the first property, or they're thinking about maybe even getting into the flipping or renting them out like yourself, can you give them any advice?
Yeah, so I'd say if you wanted to get on the property ladder, I know it is quite hard right now, but find an area outside of where you're looking. So say if you're looking, I don't know, say Manchester or something, look outside in the outskirts kind of thing. That's where you're going to find a lot of cheaper houses.
Because I think we're lucky, aren't we? We're from the northeast.
Yeah. So where I live, like it is quite cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could pick up a terraced house for 80 grand or something.
Yeah.
So it is a lot easier. So you do have to kind of take a hit sometimes because London prices are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can rent. I mean, there's nothing wrong with renting. I just feel like when you own your own home, your mortgage is probably cheaper than that rent.
Yeah, of course.
So I'd say just like save up, get a 10% deposit, and kind of you might have to take some sacrifices to get it, but houses are always gonna keep the value. Like you got to think of it like a piggy bank. Like for instance, I've just sold mine and I've made quite a decent profit on it because it's kind of like it is an investment.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not just blowing it on maybe like a Lamborghini or something, and it's going to devalue in 2 years. So you got to think of it like an investment. And
Says the man who's just pulled up in a Hummer.
I
am joking, by the way.
Yeah,
mate.
I've got a van T6. I'm still doing it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of think of it investment. I mean, and if you can get that 10% deposit, I think they do 5% deposits now, but with FAD, like your monthly payments are going to be a bit hefty. So I feel like just get something that is shot, like that is maybe not structural damage, but inside maybe someone's lived in there for years. Like we just literally bought one and it was being abandoned for 4 years, and like really kind of do it up, even live in it while you do it, because as soon as you do that house up, you're going to make a profit on it. There's no doubt.
Legend, mate. Luke, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Thank you for having me on.
I feel like I could speak to you fucking hours, mate, because there's shit I want to delve into properly and all sorts. But I'm gonna wrap it up there, mate. But thank you so much for being on the show.
Appreciate it.
Cheers for your time, Eddie. Thank you, buddy.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
mate.